Our next presenter has worked with Fortune 500 companies, with professional athletes, with Hollywood stars on how to biohack their bodies and get the most out of their energy. And he's going to show you how to do the same. He's going to show you how to get more clarity and get more out of your day. And to introduce him, let's watch this short video.
I'd worked with this guy and helped him a lot with his health, and he said, hey, he's like, my little brother Nico, he's 11 and he's in bad shape, man, he needs help. He's like, can you help him? I said, sure. So this little 11-year-old calls me up and he's like, hey, and I'm like, what's going on, man? He's like, well, I'm getting made fun of at school. He's like, I can't lose weight. He's 11 years old, he's 150 pounds. Couldn't run. Kids were being cruel, making fun of him, and he'd sit there at recess, he couldn't play basketball. And we started getting the weight coming off, and he started getting involved in sports, and he started getting back into life. The kids stopped making fun of me, actually started making friends. He started telling me about how he was joining a CrossFit gym with his brother, and like sent me these videos of him doing like floor to overhead cleaning presses, and next thing you know, he's down to 115 pounds, 35 pounds down. He's running, he's playing basketball, he's like loving his life, and he's like posting on Facebook, helping other kids, you know, to take control of their health. And that's what it's about, you know, it's about you inspire one person, that's what goes beyond you. You know, because then that person inspires other people, and then those people inspire other people, and that's what we want to do. We want to put an end to childhood obesity, and we want to give people the tools to take their health back, and that's what this book is about, and that's what our mission's all about.
Ladies and gentlemen, get on your feet and welcome to the stage, Anthony DiClemnti.
We're here to talk about energy. Anyone here who could use more energy in their life, say aye. Awesome. I've spent the past few years putting myself in situations that are usually very difficult and often somewhat dangerous. I've done a 120-hour water-only fast. That's a picture, actually that's James Franco in the movie 127 Hours. My VA in the Philippines must have misunderstood. I am jokes, right? I've done over 200 cold plunges in freezing Lake Michigan. And I've moved from Chicago to Florida, which has been both difficult and dangerous, and I'll explain why. Why would I put myself through these situations? It's not an obsessive quest or pursuit of awesomeness. It's because in 2011, I couldn't get out of bed. I was like one of Charlie Bucket's grandparents in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Anyone ever wonder why there's like 4 people in bed the whole movie and only Grandpa Joe gets out for a little bit? I never questioned it as a kid, but that was me. And I saw 11 doctors in 12 months. They all told me the same thing, there's nothing wrong with you. And I realized what I was doing was I was trying to outsource my health. I was trying to outsource my 2 greatest assets, my mind and body. And in that moment, I took responsibility and I said, there has to be a better way. And in diving deep into this stuff, I realized there's a big difference between our chronological age, how long we've been on this planet, and our biological age, the age of our cells. And this is now being validated in the scientific literature. They're showing that a 38-year-old today could have cells that are the same as a spry 20-year-old or as old as a weak and feeble, decrepit 60-year-old. Sorry for any 60-year-olds. I did not mean that in a bad way. Went a little ham with the adjectives there. And in that moment, I realized that we have 2 options in life, guys. We can live old and die young, and that's the path that I was headed on. Or we can live young and die old. Who here wants to live young and die old? Say aye. Awesome. I feel like that's like Tony Robbins' thing, say aye. It just started happening. I'm gonna quit jocking Tony. Here's some of the warning signs that I experienced when I was going through all this stuff. If you wake up exhausted after a full night's sleep, if you have a harder time losing weight than normal, if you have an afternoon energy dip or even crash, if you experience anxiety, constant stress, irritability, agitation, you're short with your loved ones, or even low mood, all of these were things that I was experiencing and ignoring. And I self-medicated instead for a long time, and I was kind of like that little kid going, la 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 la, I'm not listening to you, body. And so I'm giving you guys a little bit of a heads up, so hopefully you don't have to go through that same learning curve. I experienced decreased sex drive, weakness, fatigue, and decreased stamina, and I just felt like I was aging faster than normal. And I realized that everything is energy. And as I started experiencing and researching different disciplines, I would pick the things that worked, and I looked at people that were out there doing the impossible, curing incurable diseases, elite athletes that were adding 5, 10% improvements in their performance, and I applied that to myself just to try to get a little bit better. And at the beginning, I only had 1 or 2 hours of productivity. So I had to make the smallest changes that would produce the biggest results, because that was all I had. And gradually, in doing that, I started having 4 hours of productivity, 5 hours of productivity, until I got my life back, and I took my life back. And all of you guys here, no matter where you're at on that journey, if you're over on the disease side of the continuum, or you're all the way over here on like optimal performance, you have control over your health, and it's only limited by your skill set. And you can move yourself along that continuum towards optimal health and come on this journey with us in exploring the true potential of human beings. That's what this is about. I want to increase the human lifespan, the health span of human beings, where we're living in a vibrant state, loving our life beyond 150. And again, the science is showing us that that's possible. And I'd love to take as many of you who would like to come along with me. This is validated now in the scientific literature. It's not crystals and esoteric talk when we talk about energy. We're talking about the production of ATP in the body, adenosine triphosphate. I'm going to keep the big words limited. But basically, it's a real thing. Inside of all of our cells, we have these little bacteria-like organelles called mitochondria. And they take oxygen and food, and this whole process is accelerated with sunlight. And they make energy in the form of ATP. And what the science is showing us, they looked at rats, not rats, mice. Sorry, mice. Any mice in the room? And they took mice, and they found the mice that had the best functioning mitochondria, the top quartile, lived 36% longer. That's what we realized in this journey of me losing my health and getting it back, is that we have a tendency to take this reductionist view, much like the beef some people have with Western medicine. They say it's too fragmented, everything's reductionist. We're looking at the body as this collection of independent organs, whereas I believe it is one integrated system. We have a tendency to do that same thing with biohacking. And here's a Time article from 2015 showing that this baby could live to be 142 years old. And what we're applying is going to make that possible. Scientists have extended lifespan in rats by 40%. I'm pioneering, as patient zero, a number of those different implements on myself and diligently tracking biomarkers along with a number of other biohackers who want to help make this available for all of you guys. In 2014, I was laying in my bed with my Amex credit card shaking in my hand as I took the last of my available balance and put it down to work with this man, Russell Brunson. And in one of the scariest moments of my life, I was freed. Russell and I started working together. I would get to Boise any chance I could to learn from this man. And we became friends. And he approached me and he said, "Anthony, I'm kicking butt in business. All of that's great. When I get home at 6 p.m., I have 5 kids, and I'm too tired to play with them." He said, "I love my wife, Colette, and my children more than anything. And when I look back at my life, the most important thing to me is for them to remember me as being a great father. And I'm not that right now. I need help." So Russell and I did some stuff, and we went grocery shopping, and the rest is history. He's changing the world. And just imagine if we can keep a guy like that around for an extra 50 or 60 years, what's possible with him functioning at his highest level, right? But the truth of the matter is, Russell has helped me far more than I could ever help him. And I believe all of us are human beings having a spiritual experience here. And we all have angels on earth, if you want to call them that, regardless of your religious affiliations or belief system. Russell Brunson is one of my angels. And he gave me this life that I would gladly give to him just to show how grateful I am. Guys, the life you want, the marriage you want, the business that you want, it's all fueled by your energy production. How well are those mitochondria working? These things are 10% of our body weight. Some cells have thousands of them. They're that important. And we're at an amazing time in history right now where a lot like if you wanted to film an infomercial 40 years ago or 30 years ago, I don't know the infomercial industry that well, but you needed a film crew and you had to spend a lot of money. And today, if you want to film a video of similar quality, all you need is an iPhone. It's pretty cool. Well, it's a lot like that with biohacking and the way that we're changing clinical studies. It used to cost tens of millions of dollars to run a really good clinical study and get the people involved and track the biomarkers. Well, now with technology, we have these gadgets and tools available. And these are just some of the things that I track and a number of other biohackers in our community track. Right now, I'm doing it every day. It's a little bit cumbersome, but it's worth it for the project that I've got going on. But heart rate variability, blood pressure, pulse, temperature, skin elasticity, body fat percentage, blood sugar. You can get labs and order them to your house. You don't even have to get them from a doctor anymore. If you know what you want, you know where to go. Reaction time, weight, lung capacity, telomere length, even tracking your sleep. And I'll show you guys some of the ways that we do that. So here's what we're gonna dive into real quick. You guys are gonna learn some energy myths, some focus tools, and a morning routine and live demo. Does that sound good? All right, nice. Here's some of the myths. Couldn't do a presentation without working Mark Twain in there, right? Mark Twain says, I love this quote, "What gets us in trouble is not what we don't know. It's what we know for sure that just ain't so." And Bruce Lee said that similarly, where he's like, you basically have to empty your cup before you can even take from my cup. A lot of us, we walk around with a full cup, and I was like that for most of my life. I still work on it, but we have to empty our cups. So myth number one, avoid the sun. This is a picture of a heliotherapy center in Leysen, Switzerland. Heliotherapy was used by the ancient Greeks, the Romans, and it even continued into the 1900s. In fact, in Leysen, Switzerland, there were over 30 clinics and 1,000 beds in one city alone because it was working so well. And the high altitude gave people larger exposure to UVB, which many of you guys know is responsible for vitamin D. Right, nice. Oh, you guys are good. I was hoping that one. You were with me. The Journal of the American Medical Association in 1944 named sun, air, and sea as the trifecta for health, curing everything from tuberculosis to the common cold. And Dr. Joseph Mercola describes this avoid the sun recommendation as the greatest public health mistake of the 20th century. I was living like a zoo animal. That was a part of it. I came to the epiphany that the sun is the greatest energy source in our solar system. Without it, we would be a ball of ice shooting through the galaxy. Everything here depends on it. But Anthony, what about skin cancer? Like many things in the scientific literature, when we apply it in the trenches, in the real world, or really dig into the science, it doesn't hold up. In fact, for every one skin cancer death that is prevented by avoiding the sun, vitamin D would have prevented 30. I don't know about you guys, but that's a bad trade, I think. I'm not a trader. When we apply this stuff and we reconnect with our natural world, we start getting some more of that morning sunlight. Here are some of the things that can happen, especially when combined with meticulous tracking. This is one of my clients' branch before. He came to me because he wasn't getting enough REM sleep. Why does that stink? Because REM sleep is when we clear toxins from our brain. Some of those beta amyloid plaques that we know we see in higher numbers with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, all of these neurodegenerative diseases. So he was concerned, and rightfully so. He said, hey man, what can we do? So we made some changes, and I'm gonna show you some of those changes, but here's what happened. Look at his REM sleep. 300% increase just from a few lifestyle shifts and reconnecting his circadian body clock with the rising and setting of the sun, the greatest source of energy on this planet. What do you guys think? You like that? It's also why in August of last year, my ex-girlfriend and I moved to Florida. I got tired of trying to hack light in my Chicago high-rise. I'm going from the sauna to sitting on the red thing to putting this in my eyes. I'm like, why don't I just go to Florida? The only thing you want to keep in mind is just don't burn. All right, myth number 2, radiation from Wi-Fi and cell phones is safe. Guys, who here has cut back on using a microwave or even stopped using their microwave to cook their food? Nice, good work. Well, phone and Wi-Fi emit microwaves. That's what they are. These are bidirectional microwave devices. And we don't think of them that way, but they very much are microwaves. Now, they're not the kind that cook things. They're non-radiating. And I'm going to explain how this impacts our energy production and health. Nikola Tesla, arguably the smartest man to have ever lived. Superfluous statements of the day. But he is a really smart guy, and he's up there with Einstein. He said, and this is one of my favorite quotes, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. These past few decades, we have cut ourselves off from the natural energies of the sun and the earth that are measurable and tangible. Again, this is not esoteric, this is science. And we've surrounded ourselves with unnatural energies that our biology has never seen. We're experiencing the largest population shift in history. Every year, 60 to 70 million people are moving to big cities. Each of those people has an average of 7 wireless and Bluetooth devices. Think about that. So a place like Manhattan, 10 million people, 70 million wireless and Bluetooth devices that are transmitting. If you can pick up your phone and connect to a Wi-Fi network, that Wi-Fi network is affecting your biology. But don't worry, I'm going to tell you guys how to protect yourself. We had to figure this out the hard way. We originally moved to Delray in this apartment building. You can imagine, I'm in one of those units. There's someone above, someone below, someone to the left, someone to the right. All those high-powered Wi-Fi routers go through the walls. That affects us. I don't want to sleep in a canopy tent, EMF shielding canopy tent. So we moved to this house. But then beyond that, you have the supporting infrastructure. Does anyone know what that is? It's a cell tower disguised as an American flag. And they've got those looking like trees, cactus, all sorts of stuff. This is biological kryptonite. Now, what makes it a little bit confusing? We can't see it. We have a hard time as human beings with things that we can't see. But only 5 to 10% of people actually experience symptoms where they're like, I know when I get around my cell phone, or I know when I'm like in these environments, I don't feel that good. Those people are the canaries in the coal mines. And we're going to continue to increase the power output of these things until there's enough canaries and it's affecting all of us. But even the people that don't experience the symptoms, it's 100% affecting our biology. We just may not be as anxious or stressed or short or tired. Is that making sense? Here's a study. I'll leave the studies in there so you guys can go back. I want to make sure I make time. The 1965 Nobel Prize was won by this man, Jacques Monod. And he said, anything found to be true for the E. coli must be also true for the elephants. What does that mean? It's basically explaining why when they do studies with worms and yeast and fruit flies and chimpanzees, the results typically translate to humans because we all have a similar biological response. It's not true in every single case, but as a general rule, this Nobel Prize winner summed it up quite well. Here's a $25 million study. Cell phone radiation boosts cancer rates in animals. Statistically significant increases in cancer. I'm not saying this to scare you guys. I just want to open up so that if anything, you just ask questions. You leave this with more questions than you came with, then it's a success. Here are the current safety limits. Keep it under 10 milliwatts per meter squared. Don't worry about the nerd stuff. You want it under 10, right? And the Bioinitiative Working Group, who is considered the most accredited agency on this matter, says keep it under 6. Well, this is a snapshot of me using a Cornet tri-mode meter while making a phone call, and it's at 382. Far from under 6. Maybe it's why Steve Jobs didn't let his kids use iPads. Who here didn't know that? It's history repeating itself. It was cigarettes before. The people that said cigarettes are bad for you, cigarettes cause cancer in the 50s and 60s, they were seen as the radical extremists. That's me right now, a little bit, I suppose. But this is, if we could see this stuff, this is what it would look like. There's 1 trillion times more radiation today than there was just 100 years ago. That's what the radiation would look like if we could see it. We're living in an unconventional world. This is herbicide, glyphosate use going up year over year. This is, note the similarities, autism rates going up year over year with the acceleration rate increasing. This is Alzheimer's rates going up year over year with that acceleration increasing. This is Parkinson's, which my dad was diagnosed with in 2015, up 200% in less than 30 years. This is one of my clients, Frank. I was working with his sister, Nikki, helped her with some Lyme-related things. That was one of my diagnoses when I got real sick. She said, can you help my brother Frank? He's in a wheelchair. We're pretty sure he's gonna die. He's seen a number of doctors, hasn't been able to help him. And I said, well, let me talk to him. The night before, he was in a wheelchair and he was in so much pain, his dad couldn't push him because as the wheels of the chair hit the grout between the tiles in his bathroom, it sent a shock wave of pain through his body. I knew it was gonna be tough. We did some of these things that I'm talking about with you guys here, some of these hacks for energy. This is Frank less than a year later. Look at the before. Jogging in Mexico. Here are some of the ways to protect yourself. Oh boy. Is that my full time? All right. EMF protection. Natural calcium channel blockers. The way that this stuff works, and I'm gonna talk through the nerd stuff in like 20 seconds, there's things on the surface of our cells that are like garage doors. They're called voltage-gated calcium channels. EMFs from our cell phones and from Wi-Fi and all of that, they jam those doors open and let way too many calcium ions into our cells. There's a chain of reactions that cause free radicals to build up inside the cell called peroxynitrate. Don't worry about any of that. It damages your mitochondria. That's the bottom line. It damages the things that make your energy, right? That's the problem. Calcium channel blocking drugs, a problem. Stevioside, which is one of the ingredients in stevia, don't just use more stevia, you need a lot more, has been shown to protect. It's a natural calcium channel blocker without any of the downsides of prescription drugs, but you can take that to mitigate some of those effects because let's be honest, we're all around it, right? It's normal. This is modern life. We're not gonna live scared. Xanthocumol is a flavonoid from hops extract, 36% reduction in DNA damage. Same DNA double-stranded breaks that occur from these wireless devices. There's one of the ones that I use. Molecular hydrogen, you guys remember the periodic table? Molecular hydrogen's way up here. It's very, very small. It gets into our cells. It's one of the few intracellular antioxidants that can also protect your mitochondria. Hydrogen water, I have one of those machines coming. And then ketones. So basically you can use these ketones. A lot of the benefits of caloric restriction and fasting are that your body makes more of these things called ketones. You can think of them as like the fourth macronutrient. Proteins, carbohydrates, fats, ketones. It's an energy producing molecule. You can drink them in the morning or even the afternoon to increase your energy. You guys have probably seen their booth here. Focus tools. Keep your phone in airplane mode in the morning until you've worked on your most important task for the day. If you guys aren't thinking about what your most important task is for the day, it may be good to. Freedom.to cuts you off from the internet. Kill newsfeed. If any of you guys have gone down the Facebook rabbit holes, where you open up Facebook and then, oh, there's all this cool stuff going on. I'm gonna see that person who I haven't seen since high school's new baby and all that. Well, Kill Newsfeed does this, takes it away. Morning routine for high performance based in science. This is the stuff that will increase your natural energy production and help you reach that potential that is inside each and every one of you. Do meditation or breath work. I was hoping to do a demo. We'll see if there's time. Meditation or breath work, it slows cellular aging. There's a lot of other benefits, but that's an important one. 2 programs that are great. Headspace, an app on your phone, and Holosync. Holosync uses binaural beats and a very advanced form of that to get you into a meditative state, that alpha and theta wavelength. Low intensity cardio. It's actually better for your brain than high intensity cardio. Increased brain drive neurotropic factor helps with short-term working memory, and it just boosts mood more effectively. Sauna. This is my Clearlight infrared sauna. That was my place in Chicago. Now I have it in my man cave garage. Sauna use. This study showed that an hour of sauna twice a day produced a 16x increase in growth hormone. Now, an hour twice a day is a little bit extreme, I would agree. But you can get a lot of these benefits. It's a dose-dependent response by going for 20 minutes or 40 minutes. I soup it up with this. This is a Juve light because red light increases ATP. and then you cap it off with some cold. I've got a Balin stock tank on the side of my house. Throw in 5 or 6 20-pound bags of ice, freeze my bum off for a few minutes. You come out feeling like a new man or woman, like euphoric. One of the women that was at Women's BioHacking Week, after she got out of it, day 2, she's like, "This is the best I've felt in years." And then we tried to get a testimonial and it didn't come out so good. 450% increase in brown adipose tissue. That's your fat, burning fat. We also see it in muscle tissue, just not to the same degree. And then you work on your most important task with your phone in airplane mode until that's done. Don't allow yourself to go into that responsive state. Be proactive. Focus on what matters most for your business and your family. It applies to every area. And yeah, I think, all right. So, okay, we're gonna try it. We're gonna do it. Forget the volunteers. Here's what we're gonna do. Low oxygen equals low energy. This type of breathing that I'm gonna teach you guys, 24% increase in erythropoietin. That's EPO. It's a hormone produced in the kidneys. It's one of the things that Lance Armstrong injected in himself amongst a cornucopia of other substances to win 7 Tour de France's. And here's how it is. It's a breathing method from Tibetan monks, and they use it to stay warm in the caves, but they've also found this can increase your metabolism, it can increase your response to stress, and it's called Tumo. Do you guys want to try Tumo real quick? Yeah? All right, awesome. We have actually the perfect amount of time for you to feel the effects of one round. We're gonna do it for almost 2 minutes. The idea is this: if all you did was put your focus in your belly and imagine that belly inflating like a balloon in every direction, actually creating pressure, pushing against the front of your stomach, pushing against your spine, expanding widthwise. Now, picture yourself, you're below water, starving for oxygen. Your lungs are empty, exhale. Swimming to the surface, you're so in need of that oxygen. You burst the surface and you gasp for air. And you kind of make a sound like you're in awe. You've just stepped up to the precipice of a cliff and you're looking at your perfect life manifested. Feels good too, sort of. All right, got weird there. Anyway, so you do that and you repeat that breath for about 2 minutes. If what we're going for is a change in state, you want to keep the time in between breaths short. You want to keep the inhales 100%. Maximize that inhale, really expand your lungs and stretch them out. And you only release about 20%. And if you're not feeling it, you increase the cadence. You make sure you're not doing this. Common. You want to go here. Does everyone kind of get that? So we are going for lightheadedness, heat in the belly. It should feel like work. That's a good thing. This is a hermetic stressor that puts your body through a little bit of stress, like exercise, like sunlight, but then your body adapts and becomes stronger. Make sense? All right, so if it feels a little bit uncomfortable, you're doing it right. Try to get to that state where you feel super relaxed, maybe a little tingly, maybe a little lightheaded. You guys ready? We're gonna do it for 2 minutes, so we're gonna put the time up on there so you can see, and if you look and you're like, oh my gosh, it's been 4 seconds. You'll know to keep going. Ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go. Good, keep going. I can't talk and do it at the same time. Expand your belly. Put your focus on your belly. Let it expand. Let your body relax. Take it in, 100% in. Big, big inhale. You can do it. Expand those lungs and just 20% out. Now start increasing the cadence. A little bit less time in between breaths. If you start feeling that desire to slow down, that's normal. Keep going. As long as you feel good, you're sitting down, you're safe. You're not gonna fall over. Just be careful with it. Breathe, keep it going. We've got 1 minute and 19 seconds left. If you don't feel it, you're probably not pulling enough air into your belly. So let's do a few together, big ones. Raise your hand if you're feeling any state change yet. Nice, keep going guys, keep going. Pull it deeper. If you're not feeling it, 100% breath in. Keep your chest, your head, neck, and spine aligned to open up that torso and that chest cavity. Create that space for your lungs to move into. Good, keep going, we're almost there. 45 seconds, go deeper. Stan Grof pioneered this in helping people overcome drug addictions. And it was called holotropic breathing. There's the Tumo version, there's the Wim Hof version. All of them have a lot of similarities. They've been around for a long time. But what he found is that this created something called ordinary states of consciousness. Similar to the effects that these people were getting from drugs, he was able to create it from breath, from changing the oxygen composition in the body, from short-term driving O2 levels down so that we get that increase in erythropoietin, and we walk around with higher blood oxygen saturation levels. Good, guys, 10 seconds, as deep as you can. Keep going. Load up, load up. It should feel like work. Your belly should be hot. That means you're doing it right. Good. Now a gentle release, 20%. Sit back. Let your whole body relax. Take your focus to the top of your head. Let your head relax. And imagine that wave of relaxation traveling down throughout your entire body. Take your focus within and just kind of notice what's your mood right now? How do you feel? You guys feel good? Nice, good, good. Now, take a big, deep breath, the biggest, deepest breath you've ever taken, and then hold it. Let's go. Now hold. Now squeeze all of those lower abdominal muscles, your perineum, also known as the gooch or the nacho. Squeeze it there. Then your lower abs, your upper abs. Ascend the energy up to the top of your head. This is a practice from Kundalini, and it helps with increasing your energy and mood before the day. Squeeze and hold as long as you can. Send that energy up to the top of your head, imagining it spraying out and connecting with everybody in here. You guys didn't think it was gonna get this weird, did you? And then let it go. And just let your body relax. You guys feel good? Yeah. Nice. All right, we covered all of that. What Russell's done for us, and Russell, Todd, all of these guys, what they've done for us is they've given us a tool to compete with the Goliaths of the world. BioHacking is doing something similar. It's giving you guys the ability to take control of your health, to experience the potential that you were put on this earth to experience, and to potentially experience it for a much longer time than would be the case without these tools. I appreciate you guys being cool. Amazing audience, having some fun, getting weird with me. I love you guys. Thank you very much.